Viewed from a distance, Velez, the cyberpunk planet dominated by the Ascent Group's arcology, looks like a massive and sprawling metropolis filled with life and promise. However, a closer look reveals the chaos and confusion that ensue in the wake of the collapse of the Ascent Group, the mega corporation that owns you and everyone else.
Come see me when you're ready to collect.
The Ascent has you play as an indent or an indentured worker who must ascend to the top of the social hierarchy. This is a solo and cooperative open-world, isometric, top-down, twin-stick action RPG. Unfortunately, what may seem like the long-awaited fulfillment of a great cyberpunk experience is held back by a lack of a gameplay loop and poorly implemented features. Velez is a vivid and intricate city filled with neon signs, flashy billboards, futuristic hover cars, monolithic skyscrapers, and creatures from all over the galaxy. Developer Neon Giant does a fantastic job creating a game drenched in atmosphere, weaving together conversations of passersby going about their day, billboard announcements over the speaker, endless drops of pouring rain, and a neo-noir electro-synth soundtrack playing in the background. Though Velez may have you in awe with its remarkable visual and auditory aesthetic at first, you will soon feel like you are wandering tediously in a lifeless, static world. The environments end up being nothing more than a giant landscape of reused assets and enemy types. In addition, you can only interact with a very limited number of objects and people. These include NPCs that assign quests or exchange hard-coded dialogue with you, as well as shops and dedicated safe zones. In addition, you are free to shoot and kill neutral citizens, but it is nothing more than a gimmick. You don't gain experience points and gold, or trigger any sort of karma system. Fast travel options like the taxi and subway system are either too expensive or too limited, leaving you to walk 5 to 10 minutes just to progress the story. The main story of the Ascent is mediocre at best, with few moments that stand out. You play as a classic silent protagonist doing various jobs for corporations as you uncover what happened to the Ascent Group. You experience everything from life in the slums all the way up to skyline suites enjoyed by the wealthy. On the other hand, side missions are mundane and monotonous, where most are just simple fetch quests or killing something. Neon Giant introduces some refreshing gameplay elements. Being a twin-stick shooter, the Ascent offers the ability to aim both high and low on enemy targets, with a crouch and cover system behind various objects and structures found in the world. Further, the RPG elements offer character customization and skill trees, including cyberware augmentations and the ability to hack using a cyber deck. There is a delightful variety of different weapons, tactical gear, and augmentations to find and utilize. These vary from pistols and shotguns to miniguns, spider bots, and even your own mech robot to control. The amount of customization and differentiation in gear is robust and promotes different playstyles, especially in co-op. Loot is not randomized and is often very underwhelming. Most of the time, whatever loot you collect is best sold for cash in the shops, as leveling up weapons is only possible via a rare currency found in the world. In addition, old bosses become regular mobs and enemy types end up being reused all the time. Most are not worth killing because they drop very little experience and gold. Exploration is also bland as you walk several minutes with the intent of finding some very rare loot, only to discover that it is locked behind a higher hack level or just cash or an item you already own. For a game that markets itself heavily on cooperative play, the Ascent fails to meet the most rudimentary of expectations for an online game and lacks substantially in solo offline play. To put it simply, the co-op function is broken. Multiple crashes ensue after hosting or joining an online session, to the point where the multiplayer aspect of the game is not only unenjoyable, but unplayable. Apart from important key items found in the story, the loot is not shared among all players and promotes unhealthy and often unfair multiplayer experiences. Moving forward, the solo player experience doesn't bode so well either. An atrocious number of enemies that are nothing more than damage sponges come at you from all sides. At the same time, you are tasked to point defend or survive X number of minutes, making the game extremely unbalanced and artificially difficult. The Ascent is said to be seamless with essentially no loading screens, yet the elevator, taxi, and subway rides that cut to black essentially act as a replacement loading screen. The developers also promise that playing through the main missions will land you somewhere around 15 to 20 hours. I was actually able to complete all the main missions and a handful of side missions in only 12 hours, with a good chunk of that being straight up walking from point A to point B and retrying the insanely unbalanced single-player boss encounters. In theory, a co-op loot-based isometric RPG like The Ascent has the potential of being a great cyberpunk-themed experience to play with a group of friends. The world building is appealing visually and orally, but it is ultimately unsatisfying and often unrewarding during exploration. The lack of replayability, broken cooperative play, bugs, and unbalanced artificial enemy difficulty make it tough to appreciate its positive elements. It is sad to say that the Ascent is another overhyped cyberpunk game that is all fluff and no substance. Noisy Pixel is giving the Ascent a 5.5 out of 10. Thanks for watching. Please read the full review at noisypixel.net. Noisy Pixel is run by a group of gamers who work hard to deliver news, reviews, previews, and more. Please subscribe to keep up with all of our future content.
Noisy Pixel.